mistakes. To fine-tune its performance, the computer is given classic chess problems. If it fails to solve them, its program is re-examined with the help of one of America's best players, Maxim Dlugy.
Have you played Deep Thought?
Oh, yeah, many times.
What was the outcome? How have you done it?
I don't know. I guess Murray keeps the tally.
Max tries provocative things to try and discover more weakness in the program. So he doesn't necessarily always play what he thinks is the best move. He will play a less good move in order to test out some idea.
There are certain limitations for Deep Thought now, and it's going to be a question of whether brute force will doubt pure intellect.
That question has aroused enough curiosity to bring Anatoly Karpov to IBM on a rainy holiday weekend. The world champion for 10 years, no one has won more chess tournaments than Karpov. And no one like Karpov has ever come to IBM, not to play chess.
King F6, King C3, King E7, King B2. Yes, G7 should be. G7 should be, yes. G7. And then you don't need to play this.
Karpov had been surprised, stunned by an earlier game he played against Deep Thought, which he was almost forced to draw.
King C4.
The latest one, isn't it? King C4.
Yeah, no, but just wait. Don't make mess with the variations.
Yeah.
Today isn't a rematch, but a chance to compare his chess thinking with the computer's calculations.
Knight takes. G7.
The computer is considering every conceivable possibility. But I don't have to pretend that I'm seeing everything in the position. I make no such pretensions. In fact, I discard 99% of all possible variations. But what I'm seeing, almost as instantly as Deep Thought is calculating and reassessing thousands of variations, is the soul, the heart of the position, and I'm right there.
How humans play chess hasn't changed in 500 years. Deep Thought is driven by electrical impulses that produce a brute force search. Soviet Grandmasters like Lerner and Tahl, known as the magician from Riga, respond to more inexplicable urges: instinct, intuition, ingenuity. A computer doesn't know this side of the game, or the hero worship it can inspire.
There's such great difference between computer calculation and human. Chess is not only pure calculation. Even if computer calculates millions of the positions, you still have to evaluate, or to, not evaluate, but just to understand the position itself. I mean, common sense. I mean, that's our method. I want to be the man who will save our pride, human pride.
How the machine plays chess is understood, programmable, at least by computer scientists. At the chessboard, it's man who works in mysterious ways. For the human player, chess is a game of nerves as well as knowledge, of psychological gambits, a test of wills and competitive spirit. None of that will matter to Deep Thought.
My own feeling is that we're going to finally shake the idea that everything has to be done in man's image. We're going to find out that man, as marvelous as he is, evolved to meet a set of needs, and that there are all sorts of other needs which man has himself created, which machines probably deal with much better than man can do himself, and I think this is going to be an example of that.
In a chess game, humans can suffer lapses of concentration or memory and commit blunders. Computers have bugs. A bug had delayed Deep Thought's castling maneuver, costing it time and wasted moves. In pieces, the game was still about even, but the initiative had shifted to Kasparov. Deep Thought's strength is tactical, short range, the ability to analyze a specific position. Its weakness is long-range planning, strategy, the very heart of the human game. No one knows this better than Robert Byrne, a grandmaster and regular sparring partner for Deep Thought. In a series of games, Byrne has tested the machine's capabilities, strategy, and tactics.
I'm bringing things around to the queen side. I want to attack.
I mean, is Deep Thought at this point doing things that a human opponent would not be doing?
Well, yes, Deep Thought has been having trouble forming a plan. And a human would try something, even if incorrect, would try to become more active. In the beginning, DT can play second-rate strategy, which it did here, misplaced some pieces. But once the pieces are on the squares where DT puts them, it slowly integrates them given time. So it makes use of the situation in which it finds itself. That's not just in this game. DT does that.
Byrne has won and lost against DT, and familiarity has bred respect.
The outlook for humans is not too good, because the two games that I won from Deep Thought were very beautifully played by me. Now, if that's the only way, you see the point. If that's the only way Deep Thought can be beaten, is by doing a virtual tour de force, then in the long run, unless you can think of some other way to beat it, it's going to come out ahead, because you can't turn these out every day. The first game that I won from Deep Thought contained the best combination I've played in at least 10 years.
But Byrne plays on, drawn to the challenge, analyzing, even marveling at the computer's game.
You see, there's a pin on that rook, but not after this there isn't. You see, the rook is defended now by two pieces. My rook is attacked. So, and I was thinking of doing this because my game is now very bad. I was thinking of, and probably should have, just given up the exchange here.
You can't make a mistake. You can't lose your concentration. If you're doing it pretty well, 40 moves, you must find the best 41st move. Because that's the greatest advantage of the computer, it's stability. Computer doesn't lose hope. Computer doesn't care about, previous mistake. No psychological hesitation.
The machine will see some cleverness that the human being had not conceptualized. And I see that all the time with high-tech and with other computers. They do things that are very difficult for humans to understand. And for instance, on defense, they will defend like iron. They see all the possibilities, and they very objectively deal with all of them, try to ward off the most dangerous ones, and maybe have to accede to the less dangerous ones, where the human being usually collapses under that kind of pressure and eventually makes a mistake and loses.
Some people are very upset by this. They don't like the idea of a machine triumphing. But you can look at it another way. With these geniuses, Feng Shui-Shu, Murray Campbell, Thomas Anantharaman, that's a human achievement, what they did. So DT didn't put itself together. Humans did.
There are men behind the machine. Here at IBM, the team that created Deep Thought as graduate students have proven that whether or not a computer can think, it can in this field compete. computer to play at Grandmaster level, compiling a list of important victims that grows as it gets deeper and deeper into the game.
It's very important that they refuse to follow the traditional way, to copy our brains, our mind. And they try to use only computer advantages, calculation, evaluation, etc. And that's the best way now. But I'm not sure that the computer will beat world champion, because it's a difference to beat players, chess players, strong chess players, strong grandmasters, even contenders, and the world champion. Because world champion is absolutely the best, and his greatest advantage and his greatest ability is to find a new way in chess. And it will be something you can't explain to computers.
The big issue of psychological interest about what lets a Kasparov play the kind of chess and show the kind of performance, given, for instance, he would not like this way of saying it, I'm sure, given that he only can search a little bit.
You have to feel chess game. You have to feel the harmony of chess pieces at the board. Beyond computer's capabilities, no doubt. And I'm sure it won't be available even in the future.
The positions have been staked out. In the opening, the two sides had maneuvered for control of the center, for influence over as many squares as possible, for mobility and striking power. Now they are ready to engage their forces to begin the battle of the middle game. Deep thought has been forced into a defensive position, but defense is what the machine plays best. It's Kasparov who will launch the attack. Tradition and culture have bestowed upon the world chess champion an aura of mythic mental powers that will not be easily conceded to a machine. Not by Garry Kasparov. For as long as chess has been played, it's been analyzed, a ritual that draws the chess crowd to a nearby room and fills it to capacity.
Interesting idea. I don't know if it works. See, one of the beautiful things about chess is its complexity. Humans have so many different ideas, and there are games and positions still in the Fischer-Spassky match in '72 that haven't been clearly explained. I mean, in any games. Of course, computers are threatening in the long run to take some of that mystery away. Some of the thing that puts the human on the frontier of knowledge. And the machine comes back. We don't have to explain this anymore. We know why it's doing that. It doesn't see anything else to do. It's just waiting. At D1, the computer is playing on, but he's a piece behind, and indeed it was correct in evaluating some moves ago that its position was worth a piece less. Did it see all this? I don't know.
has caused deep thought to mark time, looking in vain for a counterattack.
Murray, can you just explain how resignation takes place?
Say, I give up. We discussed before the game, when the evaluation function got below a certain level, we would resign, and it hasn't gotten below that level yet.
What is that level?
But it was 700 points, which was, a pawn is 128 points, so that's about 4 pawns.
And then, after 52 moves, it was over.
Look to E2 by Garry Kasparov, and in this position, the computer admits defeat.
I think there's always a man versus machine element involved, because even at the beginning of history, people has always had fascination of creating his own equal, and this sort of a step toward our dream. Of course, it's a failed step, but it's interesting anyway.
After 2.5 hours, Kasparov had prevailed, but it was like no other game he had ever played.
Should I explain something to you? Yes.
Okay, I did it well. Yes. Before the first game, I was a little bit worried because playing versus human being, I have my opponent opposite me, and it's kind of energy goes between us. But today, there's no human being, and there was no energy. It's kind of black hole. But I discovered a new source of energy because I played against computer, and the audience, it's human beings. Everybody wanted really to crash the computer because we have something common. We're a human being, and thanks very much for this enormous energy supply.
You know, people felt vindicated today, it seemed to me. We, humanity, had a common triumph. The computer people, of course, are always saying that, that their triumph is a triumph for humanity as well, and that isn't this, this is one more reflection of all the things that we, are capable of and what we can create. But we don't emotionally feel that way. I mean, we root for the lone Kasparov here.
For many, the unthinkable had been avoided. For others, what lay ahead was the inevitable. Back at his drawing board, Hugh is working on what he calls the ultimate chess machine. One that by running 1,000 chips in parallel will look at 1 billion moves a second and become champion of all the world.
So once you can look at 1 billion board positions a second, you've got it.
That's the way I figure, yeah.
But is it just a matter of time before Kasparov is defeated by Deep Thought or by Deep Thought's successor?
I think so. A matter of not very long time.
Yes. In the forever future, yes. Something that a 3-year-old will hold in their hand will beat the world champion. There's no doubt about that.
It's inevitable. The machines are getting faster and faster, and humans are staying more or less the same.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Many have said that Kasparov is the last human world champion. I don't know. We shall see when I lose my challenge. Because it will happen once. I don't know when, but it will happen. And then I understand that's the limit. Right now, there's no limit because I can win any challenge. And I have no doubt I didn't use my 100% capability. Not yet. It wasn't necessary. And probably that's a great pity for me. Yes, I want to use it fully. And for right now, for me, I think that the only chance is to face the computer with 1 billion iterations a second. Within 5 years, I will show my real chess, what real I can do at the chessboard.
That's how it started in the first place, as a way to find out what man and machine could do at the chessboard, to find out more about computers and about ourselves.
After all, when we get through with the mind, we will go back to how humans can feel. So machines, in fact, can't feel sad. They can't feel empathetic. You know, they can't feel sort of joyous and smile. They can't feel good when they get up. They can't feel depressed. So it turns out that those will be the real human things, and you can have your ability to think that will sort of pass in the night as the key thing. So it's only now that the key is sort of on the intellectual activities that we think that's all important.
And maybe after 3 rounds, or maybe more than 3 rounds of this, we might rethink the whole situation and say, maybe the important thing isn't our uniqueness at all. Maybe the important thing is that we sit on this little pale blue globe, at least that's the way it looks from space, along with all the other creatures and the plants, and that's where we're going to live for a long time, and we better learn not how to be unique, we better learn how to live with the rest of nature, to be a part of nature.
Was played to test the limits of the machine. Now it's the machine that may be testing the limits of man.
We as human beings don't really understand ourselves. So I put a very high priority on getting a deeper understanding of human beings, including our thought processes. And I see the computers as having helped us and helping us toward that goal. So I don't think it's important whether computers can beat people or people can beat computers in chess anymore than I think it's important whether racehorses can beat marathon runners or marathon runners can beat racehorses. That isn't what human race is all about. But I do think that it's terribly important that we get a deeper understanding of ourselves. And if computers can help us do it, which I think they can, obviously, then we ought to be using them to do it.
We have some perspective in the future, not only computer. We can find something, we can create something new beyond the computer's ability, computer's imagination, let's say. And that the human being is able to resist this artificial mind very successfully.
I mean, how will you feel if someday you do lose to a computer?
Single game or match?